we have Angus Phillips from Oxford International Centre for Publishing Studies.
Right, good morning everybody, hello. Thank you very much for the invitation to come and speak here. I'm the head of the Centre for Publishing Studies at Oxford Brooke University, and my first slide's headed "The Death of the Book?" I think things have really moved on. 10 years ago we were sitting there thinking, will anyone ever read on a screen? We know people will read on a computer screen, but we said no one will ever read a novel on the beach on a screen. Well, things have changed, things have moved on. People are reading ebooks now, they're reading on e-readers, they're reading on the iPad, and it really is happening. Some consumer publishers are seeing for best-selling titles around 15% of the sales are now through ebook sales. So people are definitely reading ebooks. Some people have had to eat their words. I remember Annie Proulx said no one will ever read a novel on screen ever. That was about 20 years ago. More recently, Steve Jobs said no one reads books anymore. That was about 3 years ago. And when the iPad was launched, one of the uses for the iPad was reading books. So people do change their minds about these things. But people are definitely reading ebooks now. And we always said that print was that kind of immersive experience that you would never get on a screen. You get lost in a book. But you see people now sitting on their sofas with an iPad or with a Kindle. They are starting to get that immersive experience through reading electronic text. So things have definitely changed over the last 2 years. And as we've just heard, it was the advent of the Kindle that's really changed that. We've got a mass market consumer reading device that has really changed things. I think things have moved on quite significantly. We used to talk about lean back and lean forward technologies. We said that the PC was a lean forward technology and you were doing your work on it, whatever, and the book was that lean back technology. And again, I think we're starting to see with ebook readers a lean back technology that is working for readers. And so I'd like to move the debate on really about, we used to argue about will people read on screen, are books going to disappear? Well, they're not disappearing, people still love books, whether in digital or in print. And I think the debate now is about exciting things we can do. Obviously with digital, but also there's still a place for print in this new order of things. People still love print. So I want to concentrate on innovation now. What is really happening in the publishing industry? What are authors thinking about this new environment? Where is the innovation coming from and what kind of things are happening? Alongside this, we're seeing a new set of terminology. The printed book has had to move slightly sideways because we now have the ebook. So we now talk about the pbook, which is the printed book. So we have both ebooks and pbooks. We have different kinds of ebooks now. Publishers talk about the vanilla ebook, which is basically taking an existing text, an existing novel, and you're reading it on your Kindle. That is a vanilla ebook. So we have a straightforward, plain vanilla ebook. We have an enhanced ebook. We have the potential with the advent of EPUB 3 coming, new software coming in the next few months. It will be relatively easy for publishers to add in sound and video to their vanilla ebooks. So you have an enhanced ebook, not just web links, but also embedded video and audio in books. We have born digital. We have publishers who are creating projects from scratch. They're not just thinking we're going to create content as a printed book, we're going to do born digital projects, we're going to create content which can then be published in lots of different ways. It might be published on the web, it might be published as an ebook, it might be published in print. So that's a born digital project. And we also have the mook now. William Gibson coined this phrase, which is a sort of combo of the book and the magazine. We have a mook, which on an iPad, it starts to make some sort of sense that you can start to play around with these kind of distinctions and those break down. And there's a lot of talk about convergence in media at the moment. If you're reading it on an iPad, are you really going to care what kind of publisher produced the content, what kind of content it is? Are these distinctions going to disappear? So that's all quite interesting, I think. Lots of innovation around. I've just selected a few examples, given the time I've got today. And I've got my iPhone with me, and on here I have an enhanced ebook, which is a Sherlock Holmes story produced by a French publisher, and I can put my headphones on the train. Well, I could do, yeah. Should we show?
So that's a mook.
No, it's a byook actually. So this is a Sherlock Holmes story, The Adventure of the Speckled Band, and it's essentially an enhanced ebook. I can put my headphones on, it has sound, music that goes with the story, and let's see how quickly it loads up. Start. Let's see. Yeah, so we're in London now in 1883, and you're starting to get the atmosphere. You can hear the carriage drawing up outside the Baker Street consulting rooms of Sherlock Holmes. You can turn the pages, and the blood drips down the page. It's starting to get more of the atmosphere. So I love this. I think this is really good. I mean, I love the Sherlock Holmes stories anyway, but it's added a new dimension to my reading of the stories, and I can read the text and I enjoy the audio as well. So that's an example of an enhanced ebook. We won't turn the sound off now, which I can look at on my phone. Do we need to go back to? One of the most innovative publishers are Mills and Boon, owned by Harlequin in the States, romance publishers, and they produce an enormous number of titles every month. They have got a dedicated readership in electronic form now, and some people say that's because you're too embarrassed to be seen to be reading a romance novel, and the advantage of the ebook reader is that you can read what you like and no one will ever know what you're reading. But they're doing amazingly well. 40 or 50% of their sales now are moving over to a digital form, and people are really, you've got a nice pink Sony device there, and this market, romance, is ahead of many other markets in publishing that's moving on to ebooks at the moment. Traditional Bloomsbury publisher, Faber & Faber, publisher of T.S. Eliot, poetry, whatever. They are in the born digital market. When Steve Jobs demonstrated the iPad 2 earlier this year, what he used was their app, the Solar System, which is a born digital project. Amazing, you can twiddle the planets on screen. I talked to the author, Marcus Chown, and he said he didn't want to get involved in the project. He thought it was not something for him. He didn't want to just write captions for an app. And in the end, he was terribly excited. He was involved in the project throughout. They're going to do a print version of the project, but this is an example of a born digital project. If you get the chance to look at it on iPad, it is amazing. I haven't brought that along today. And it was financially successful as well for Faber, and they've just done an app for the Wasteland recently, and they're very innovative. That's an example of how publishers are changing. They're seeing the need for innovation, and they're really embracing it in the way they operate. Here's another example of innovation. This is Penguin children's books. You can, I think these are all sort of lady-led titles, and you can actually adapt the titles yourself on your iPad, so you can have the stories read not just by the narrator from Penguin, but you can also do the narration yourself. So you're creating titles for your children with your own voice for them to read through that. And that's an example of how publishers are playing around with what's possible in this new environment. I said earlier on, I think print still has its place. It's something that I still love, although I'm very happy to embrace reading in a new environment. It's something that I still love. This was a title I bought in the summer, Stefan Zweig's Beware of Pity, and it's published by Pushkin Press, a brand new translation. It's actually a lovely book, nice paper, really well set out, flaps on the paperback, and it's a pleasure to read. And that's an example of how publishers are seeing that they need to reinvent the book as well to make sure that it is a pleasant reading experience rather than a sort of cheap, dirty paperback that you get for you that you don't feel comfortable reading. And that is the kind of thing that's moving on to the Kindle. People feeling, well, I'm never going to read that book again. It's not a book that I want to keep, so I'll read it on the Kindle and then move on. But this is an example from Pushkin, I think, of people thinking about what you actually want out of print. The children's author Julia Donaldson, who produced the Gruffalo books, she said she doesn't want any of her titles to go digital because she still thinks children should have that experience of handling a print book. And she's rich enough to be able to say that she doesn't want to embrace the digital revolution. J.K. Rowling has, and that just suddenly embraced the digital revolution with her Pottermore website, and you can look at digital titles on there now. But that's an example of authors standing up for print and saying, well, I think there is something benefit for children in handling a print title, that we should keep that. And that's all part of the work that's done in libraries and schools around still handling print. Birds of America, that is the most expensive book ever, am I right? It's $7.5 million or something, it was sold for at auction. And the Natural History Museum is producing a facsimile edition for the Christmas market. £75 sounds expensive to me, but compared to $7.5 million, that's pretty good. Another example of where print has its place, that is something you're going to want to own. I don't know if they're doing a limited edition or whatever, but if that's something you're going to want to own, if you're a book collector, that's the kind of special book that you're going to want to have. So I think print still does have its place in different forms, and publishers have to put value back into print to make sure that people still want to buy it. Exciting times for authors. You don't necessarily need a publisher any longer. You can go direct to your readership if you're ambitious enough and entrepreneurial enough and you hit the right market. I've just come back from China, and there's a lot of reading on mobile phones. And the price of a subway ticket in Beijing is 20p, but for 30p you can buy 10 novels for your mobile phone, and a lot of those are written by authors and published directly through a mobile phone service. So people are going direct to their readers in a way that is quite exciting, I think. Authors can experiment. We know that publishers are experimenting, but authors can experiment as well in different formats. There are so many different ways of reaching your readership now. So it could be with or without publishers, and an example of that with a strong brand like Ian Fleming, that they've decided not to use a publisher to publish their ebook, so you can actually buy direct from the estate the Ian Fleming books. They've done a deal with Amazon, I think. So that's an example of where authors are going direct. They've got a strong enough brand that they don't actually need to work with a publisher in the ebook market. So I think innovation, excitement, this is what's happening at the moment. Don't forget print, but the digital world is a tremendous opportunity for authors, publishers, readers. So thank you very much.